Let's crack a tinny. Let's get this show on the road, I guess. Sunday shop do 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 do. Hello, Shelley Dwellies. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. G'day, Craig. And how's everyone doing? Well, as it's just Craig here. How are you doing? Welcome aboard the crazy train. Happy birthday to Belle, by the way, and Sammy Boy is here. Nanakara, howdy Yella. I hope all is well there as well. Are you shopping, squatting, or walking the dog? One or the other. So, I hope both have had good weeks. I'm just sort of counting down the shifts until my week off. So, one more to go. Well, one more week. Dog park, services hit and miss. Furry muff. Give doggo a fuss for me. Yes, so another week and I've got a week off. Yay! Yeah. Not a lot really occurred this week. Craig's supposed to be asleep. Well, yeah. Any Aussie that's up at the time I'm streaming should probably be asleep. Especially at 3 a.m. Jeez, man. What are you doing? Water changes or cleaning? It's one or the other. Yeah, this has been a semi-interesting week anyway. Work was fairly busy, so that went quick. Laying up, fair enough. Yeah, went for a decent-ish ride Thursday. Yes. No mention of quizzes yet, Andrew. Good evening, sir. I was working yesterday, unsurprisingly. I'm working next weekend as well, so if we could make sure Dan doesn't get ahead again, that'd be great. Hello, Debs. Yeah, so water changes, bike ride, work. Uploaded the video earlier this week on the decoy common. I've not actually looked to see how many views that's had. Probably not many, because, you know, my videos don't get many views. Some get thousands, some get about 12. It all depends. Yeah, weird, I know. One of my jobs for tomorrow. There's a certain little boy in a certain little cave in there, so we're going to have to decave some pleclets. I suppose technically I could do that live, but the chances for it going badly wrong, and the fact he's just going to stare at my back for 5 minutes while I do it, unless Spotty's a good boy and just goes out the cave of his own accord. And no one wants to look at my butt for 5 minutes, not even Mary. So yes, there was that. But yes, been a fairly uneventful week for the most part. The Nanakara did lay eggs again, but they've vanished. So whether they've been eaten, whether they've been moved, I suspect eaten was the way that they're both swimming around, and Missy Cara isn't hiding up. Today, because there is an LFS that is closing down, unfortunately. So So Mary and I went for a trip out to see what they had, see if there are any shiny fishies. Unfortunately, fortunately for them, unfortunately for me. Night night, Craigo. Sleep tight. Don't let the drop bears bite. Yeah. Unfortunately for me, fortunately for them, they had very few fish left. There are a couple of rather ropey-looking betters, a few odd, random, assorted pistos, and was it the Nichols mouth? There was a mouth brooder. Nichols might have been. And then a honking great blue crayfish, or blue lobster as we call them over here. Must have been all of 8 inches from nose to tail, not including claws. I left that one well alone. One of them is no use. You need 2. You need a boy and a girl to make more. So yeah, didn't exactly get too much. It was 40% off all the livestock and 30% off of everything else. So got a pack of the Origin, a krill power flake. Needs to be Barry Scott reading these out, doesn't it? And some tropical vitality and color granulat, which I'm guessing is just it's just granularly pellet food with a weird lid on it, with a hole you can pop out. Pass. Let's have a look. Let's see if there's a 2-piece lid. There's the top part. The top part does spin, so you've got a dispensary hole. That's one way to get pellets trapped in the middle and grinding away, and yeah. And then another pack of catappa leaves, because they're always useful. The Better Choice collection. I use those in the Blackwater tank. That's about the only reason I use them. Oh, and howdy, Scotty Aquati. How you doing, sir? Yeah, so that's all I managed to get, because let's be honest, I didn't want another tank. Didn't want, dodgy filters. I've got plenty of them. Don't exactly need any more nets. I'll be able on the 28th of September. Pass. I will look into it. So I don't even know when dates, what I'm working yet. I'll figure something out. See if I am or aren't working. "28th of October. I do have some holiday left to book, so if you send me that via Messenger, then chances are I might remember. I'll see. I might be able to book holiday. At least slightly tidy up the house and fish room, and make sure I've got things like milk and tea and coffee and the usual kind of things. Clean mugs if nothing else. Hoover up a bit, that kind of stuff. So if I can get the time off, you're perfectly welcome to have a visit. Come and snaffle some. Oh yeah, pork pies definitely. Have a visit, snaffle a few fishies, perhaps some snailies. Chunk of mott in my eye. Film a video if you want. This is how not to do a fish room. Yeah. If you guys think my tanks are overcrowded, wait till you see this guy's. Yeah, that kind of thing. But yeah, literally, if you want some Bristolies or Limias, just holler. I'll either bag some up previous or bag them up as and when. I'm sure Donna wouldn't say no to a couple of long fin super reds. Just don't put Limia Perugier in with dwarf cichlids or anything they might consider that might be predatory, because they will kill it. Yeah, as I found out the hard way. Oh, bless. You'd be more than welcome to a couple of Bristolies and whatever's as well, Debs. You know that. Cool, dear. I think it's probably the least I could do if any fishy person visited me, is let them leave with a bristle nose. Here, you clean this one's poop up from now on. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yes. So yeah, no more deaths. No more. Well, we got births because bristle noses. That's about it that's gone on in the fishy room. The ghost at work has been making his presence known again, throwing things about and banging and crashing stuff and opening doors and closing doors, and yeah, usual stuff that just doesn't bother me in the slightest. But for some reason, other people get all upset and scared about doors randomly opening. Doing a fish crawl that weekend. Ah, sweet. I say, if you're coming here, you've got to visit Swallow Aquatics, which is literally like 7 miles down the road from me. It's my LFS that I supply. It will take you a while to go around it. It's rather a large place. And yeah, videoing there is fine. You don't have to worry. Obviously, be polite and ask, but you know, they're not worried about that. And if you do see someone, tell them John the Bristlenose guy sent you, and they'll know who you mean. And yeah, that's also the other way to see my fish live. Go visit that store. I think all the Bristlenoses are probably mine by now. Yeah, well, they did have someone take some in a while back, but it was a case of an accidental spawning. Oh my god, what are we going to do with these kind of things? So yes, we'll take them off your hands, don't worry. Even the LFS that's closing, which is in Dis, not 12 miles away, they had 3 turtles in there that they couldn't. Basically, someone wanted to buy the tank the turtles were in. They couldn't find someone to buy the turtles, so one shop took stock to another shop. You know, got to do what you got to do. I mean, it was sad being in there today and all the tanks are empty and nothing much to see really. But they're closing down. They're closing down. It's better that they've not got much stock left than if they were closing down. They've got a lot of stock left, because that wouldn't be good. Although I did, say that, yeah, you got my number. If by any chance when you're finally done and you close and you got a few fish, snails, or whatever, and you've got enough done it, yeah, let me know. I'm sure I can find somewhere to put them. So we might get some betters or random pistos and mouth brooders. Or what was the other one? They had a couple of red chin panchaks. So once you're sure on the date, Andrew, I'll see if I can get it booked off work. And we'll go from there. I mean, I would say if you did Shelley's, I'd catch you a couple of them, but they're a nightmare to catch. And they're easy enough to pull out the tank because you just take the shell out and the Shelley's in the shell. But yeah, then you got to break the shell apart to get the Shelley out of the shell. And that's when things get tricky. Or you can do the trick with the bucket and the cup, and that takes forever. And because they're in a strange environment, the second you go anywhere near it, they zip straight back into shells again. So yeah, it's just easier and quicker to break the shells. But the problem you get when you do that is you don't necessarily know which shell has got the fry in it. And there can be a lot of fry in that tank at any one point. There's not at the moment because I've not been feeding the fry. Purely because there's like 20 odd adult shell dwellers in a 15-gallon tank. I'm not worried about the parameters and oh no, they're overstocked with nitrates. No, I'm not worried about that. It's more territories. They're starting to get a bit squabbly. So don't want another 20 or 30 in there and it all goes. It turns to complete carnage, which is what will happen if there is. Because they might look all sweet and innocent, but they've got bloody sharp teeth. And they will soon rip each other to pieces given the chance. Hair and mouth. Yeah, fish crawl, that does sound like a fun thing to do though. A more productive version of a church crawl, which is what Mary and I do. Certainly more enjoyable than a pub crawl. That just sounds miserable. It's one of those, when you don't drink, the idea of a pub crawl is just howdy Linkbot, good to see you here. Yeah, so what else we got to talk about today? Yes, 15.5 miles left to ride by the end of this month, which is Friday. Well, it's a little over that mark. I've got to do a 15.5 mile bike ride over tomorrow and Tuesday, and I'll have cycled 150 miles in the month of August, which I'm quite happy with, being fat and unfit and lazy. It's 150 miles and 2 punctures. Although whether both punctures were caused by the same hawthorn thorn, I'm not sure. Possible, because it was only tiny, and it would have been easy enough to miss first time round, but pardon me, just got to catch things slightly wrong and it'll go pop. Thankfully, neither of them really caused an issue. other than changing the inner tube and fixing a puncture, but that's easy enough to do. Tommy, how you doing, gorgeous? How's my favourite redneck? I say that. I say it with love, obviously, but I'm really in the part of the UK that would be considered the redneck part. So, there is that. I'm just not a farmer. I don't think I could ever be a farmer. Oh, I don't know. Would I qualify as a fish farmer? I suppose if quantity is anything to go by, possibly. Mr. Moist Toes, howdy, Al? How you doing? Fish farmer. Yeah, definitely not Dalai farmer. All I got. Yeah, I'm not peaceful. I'm not peaceful enough to be the Dalai farmer. Yeah, I'll go with being a fish farmer. That'd be an interesting one to stick on a CV, wouldn't it? So, what job experience have you got? Well, warehousing, retail, killing and butchering chickens. Oh, and farming fish. Oh, and microfiche camera operating, which is no longer a job. It doesn't exist anymore. When you see in a oh yes, always votes for Debs. You see, and it's usually a cop show or a cop movie where they're like going through all the old, or in fact a horror movie where they're like going, got the machine there, like turn the button, and all the pictures zoom past and they stop it, go forward and stop it. Yeah, I used to take all the pictures that made those films up when I left college. Back when the minimum wage was £3.25 an hour. Scary to think. Haha, howdy, Mr. Calloway. How you doing? Good to see you again. Yeah, as I say, that was actually kind of a fun job to do, I've got to admit. It wasn't exactly hard work. And obviously all the ammonia from the developing the film didn't bother me in the slightest either. Yay, because I can't smell it. Well, the ammonia was used in making copies rather than filming. But yeah, so it was all Official Secrets Act because there was all sorts of interesting things that I filmed. Death certificates, birth certificates, various boring council and government stuff, and military stuff. I think that's mostly where the Official Secrets Act came in, was for the military stuff. I would say I'd presume it was all out of date by now, but I can't remember any of it, and it's probably all still in use with the UK military anyway. So, yeah, I think the most interesting it got was submarines. Did we do anything for the tanks? I think we did the Weasel Scimitar stuff, not the Chowies. Yeah, because Chobham is still top secret. So yeah, that was a fun job. Literally sitting there and taking photographs of pieces of paper for 8 hours a day. Yeah. But the good thing about it was you had to do 8,000 exposures in a day, and I don't mean exposing myself. I mean exposing film. Um, so you were supposed to do 1,000 an hour. Well, certain jobs I managed to get up, like the airline tickets, I managed to get up to over 2,000 an hour. So I would do half a day and get paid for the full day. Ooh, we've got albino pleco. Sweet. Can't go wrong with a plecky plek. There's always room for one more. No matter how heavily stocked the tank is, there's always room for one more pleco. I say that as a joke. Don't take it seriously. Anyone who's watching this on replay and doesn't know my sense of humour, before the fish police jump on me again. So I had the Reddit fish police jump on me last night. That was quite fun. And someone bought a koi for their fish tank, their maybe 10-gallon tank. They bought a koi for it. I then pointed out that someone else pointed out that they need a really big tank. So I pointed out, well, ideally they need a lake because they're too big for garden ponds. And then it was no, koi are perfect for ponds, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you're stunting your koi. They're just common carp. No, they grow to 2 feet long. And no, they don't. They get much bigger than that. Oh, terrible reception, constant buffering back when he got whiffy. Okay, see you later, sir. Fine, sir. What? I. There we go. Mark's still got the better. Good. Found a place that sells Oscars. I think it's pretty much every fish shop I've ever been in has got Oscars. Yeah, which is kind of weird because probably 90% of the tanks, 95% of the tanks in the UK aren't big enough for an Oscar. So, yeah, so I upset the koi keepers by pointing out that putting them in a garden pond is not big enough. And then telling them that all that lovely muck and mire that they religiously remove from their koi pond is actually the thing the koi do want in there. That they are bottom feeders. They love to root around in the muck in the bottom. No, can't have that. That's bad. That's dirty. Have you ever seen the kind of lakes that carp like to live in? They're not what you'd call crystal clear. They're usually a greeny, blacky brown colour. If you can see more than about 2 inches below the surface, it's a good day. Normally, because the carp have been munching through everything on the bottom of the lake and stirred all the silt up. But, what do I know? I'm not a koiist. Just a fisherman who knows how big carp get. So I said people to a carp fishing website with all the pictures of the big carp on it. They'll probably be coming back and going, well, they're not koi. They are. They're just not some weird, nasty colour. They're the colour they're meant to be. Anyway, enough of me ranting about fish police and annoying the fish police, which is always fun. Has anyone been up to anything fun this week or got any interesting news? What are we wobbling over now? Oh, that's my bit of sand. No, it's your bit of sand. Yeah, fair enough. Sorry, it's just shell dwellers having a squabble like they do. Oh, pardon me. Watch them calm right down now. As soon as I point the camera at them, they'll behave themselves. That way. That way. And it's not going to focus, obviously, because reasons. There we go. But yeah. Might need to clean the algae off the glass again. Shell dwellers are bottom dwelling fish. They never go up in the water. They do when they're comfortable. They'll be all over the tank. There should be some babies over the back there somewhere. There usually is. Oh, yep, there's one. And then, oh, there she is, gorgeous girl. There we go. Mother of a million plecos. As you see, her belly's looking a little bit on the hollow side at the moment. You know, there's a good reason for that. Oh, there's an escaped one that shouldn't be in there. Oh, Happy Cara coming out to say hello. Hello. All the Corys are hiding up somewhere. Oh, baby Limia. Adult Limia. Usual case in here with Limia, they're everywhere. Cory coming up for a breath of air for some reason. But yeah, in that cave, it's just about visible down the back. Behind the other two plecos, yes, that's where Spotty is. He's on He's at the moment. Oh, yeah, I think that one might be big enough to sell. Yes, so we've got the baby fish. That's the Pelvica chromis. The posh cribs. We've got 10 in there. There's still a few to pull out the other tank. And then we've got the usual issues of bacterial blooms going on. More super reds. More super reds. And yeah, that one's for the commons down there. Might see one move in a moment if we. Oh, there we go. There's one moving. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that's in view at the moment. Everyone else is hiding up. Oh. Is that actually going to focus again? Wow, it is. So yes, fishy's all doing well. And water change day tomorrow. So do I get all the water changes done tomorrow and then just do a bike ride Tuesday? Or do I do half and half each day? Yeah, we'll see. If I get all the water changes done relatively early and I'm still feeling in a decent mood and got a bit of energy left, had something to eat, had a nap, might go for a bike ride in the evening. Just reel off a few miles, just so don't have to go so far on Tuesday. Not that 15.5 miles is a long bike ride by any stretch of the imagination, because the week I'm off, I'll be doing the 40 odd mile ride one day, so that'll be fun. To be honest, I'm looking forward to cycling 40 odd miles more than I'm looking forward to being on 2 trains. But there we go. As I found when I last got on the train and went to Norwich train station, I really do struggle in crowds. So yeah, that's the thing I'm most dreading about cycling 40 odd miles is the crowds in the train station and having to hang around there for a while to get the second train. We Attleborough to Norwich and then Norwich to Aylsham, and then cycle from Aylsham via the old train line that got shut down in the 60s, 70s, possibly. And cycle along that, the 26 miles back to Norwich, and then probably 18-ish miles from Norwich back to home, and then collapse in a hairy, sweaty, smelly heap, because that's what I do. And it won't be my legs that hurt. That's the weird thing. I cycle a long distance-ish, for me anyway, and it's not my legs that play up. It's usually my shoulders or my hands. Legs are absolutely fine. And that's probably because the last several jobs I've had, I've been on my feet all day, every day, so I'm used to walking about. So my legs are actually fairly fit compared to the rest of me. It's amazing how far you can actually walk when your job involves standing all day. If you're not on a line anyway. Insect bite. Yeah, so hopefully when I do that, the weather's decent. I.e., not a big headwind and not piddling down with rain. Would be nice. So I'd rather not be out in the wet for hours on end. And the closer I get to home before it starts raining, the better. So literally once I hit Norwich, or once I've finished the Marriott's Way, which there's plenty of videos of the Marriott's Way if you want to watch them. Kenny, how are you doing, Kenny? Long time no see. Hope all is well with you, sir. But yeah, once I get back to Norwich, then I won't even need a map or a sat nav or anything, because I know that road like the back of my hand. Probably been up and down it hundreds, if not thousands of times in the past, so to the point where I even know where the various benches and whatever are, I can sit down and have a rest, or where there's a store I can go into and get something to eat or drink if I need to. Hello, Better and Guppy Gal, how are you? Oh, would that be Patty, would it? Would that be Miss Patty's changed her name and I've missed it? Oh dear. Purdy Paddy. I'm going to get myself in trouble here. So I just shout to everyone, Patty's here! So, don't apologise, it's me not keeping up with the current events. Okay? It's me missing far more streams than I should be missing, and you know, It's nothing personal to anybody whose streams I've been missing. I'm sure you'll know that anyway. It's more I'm either at work, out on a bike ride, or it's in the middle of the night and I either am asleep, or if I do wake up, the last thing on my mind is normally, ooh, I wonder who's streaming. It's more, why the hell have I woken up at this time of night for? Creative process, and I'm still working with it. Oh, we all do. And my channel name has changed a few times over the years. Sharpe's Models it started as, and Sharpe's Models and Aquatics. Then Sharpe's Fish and Phantoms. And it'll probably change again at some point. Who knows? Whatever my next hobby may be. It might just be easy to just call it Sharpe's Stuffs, and, and it covers anything I happen to film or want to do a video. Because Sharpe's Fish and Phantoms and Biking probably don't work too well. Best to keep these things kind of short and snappy, I think, rather than multiple. You know, if the name takes up most of a line of text, then it's probably too long. I wonder if there's actually anyone out there with the YouTube channel name Fish, other than the lead singer from Marillion. He might have a channel. And yes, I know that's just aged me, rather. And no, I'm not going to start singing Kaylee before anyone asks. Well, I might, because you know what I'm like. Didn't mean to say I'm sorry. Kaylee, can we get it together again? And you just know that anyone under the age of 30 that is called Kaylee, or probably older than that now, under the age of 35, called Kaylee is named after that song. At least I'm just named after a toilet, so. There you go. Well, that's it. Because you got the Dave, haven't you? I could be the John. Streams from the toilet. I would have to be very careful about camera angles then, though. Halfway through a stream, you just hear a splash. That probably wouldn't go down too well. It'd be quite funny, but I don't think people would take to it too nicely. But are you seriously really sitting on the toilet? Spladoosh. Nah, might make a change, I suppose. I could stream from somewhere else, but this is where the fish are, so nicer to look at fishes than my face. Could stream from the modelling cave, I suppose, but yeah, I'd need a serious tidy up before I did anything in there. Because I'd have to find enough space to put the laptop on the workbench, and there's not enough space. It's only what 4 by 4 foot L-shaped bench. So there's not enough room on it really for a laptop. Yeah, it's busy. Oh, look good. Need to partake for. There's nothing really partakeable. I couldn't puff past. This is just tobacco because I'm a good boy now. Also, I can't afford to smoke weed anymore, given the way everything has gone up in price. You know, it's bad when there's like a 30% off sale, and you think, oh, those prices actually seem normal now. Um, we've still got it where foods are going up 20-30% in a week. See you later, Kenny. Good to see you. Stay safe, my friend. Stay away from power tools. And Mandy's here. Oh, hello, Mandy Madeary. And all is fine with the world again. I was getting worried I might actually have to start doing some modding, but thankfully. Yes. So again, it's one of those ones where I've got really nothing really much to talk about. I've gone through it all really quickly. Made some new friends at work. Doggos, not humans. Nope. Uncle Gonzen is making brekkie. Good, good, good. I'm going to figure out something to eat in a bit. I think I might go with tuna and rice. That sounds a good plan. Just a tin of Lidl's cheapest possible tuna chunks and a pack of microwave rice. Add a little butter and a little salt and a bit of mayonnaise and yum, 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 yum. That'll keep me going through till tomorrow. I can eat something a bit more substantial. And we've got a spitter. Do we have some fun and catch a spitter and pop it in a fish tank and watch it get eaten? Or should we try out some of these new foods I got today? Do you think that's a good idea? Let's start with the Vitality and Colour Granulat. Eggs, sausage, grits and toast. Grits aren't really a UK thing, but I do know what they are. Sounds good to me. Are you going to cook the eggs properly, or are you going to overcook them so the yolks are solid? Because eggs should have runny yolks. The only time an egg should be hard cooked to have a hard yolk is for when you're making egg mayonnaise or Scotch eggs. That's about the only time an egg should not have a runny yolk. Sunny side up. Good, good, good. And for anyone who doesn't know what sunny side up means, I mean the Brits among us, that means yellow bit facing up. Right, so let's try some tropical granulats, shall we? Let's see whether the fish like this new food. Now here is where we find that because Sharpe feeds lots of different foods, this fish aren't fixated on one particular type. Let's get that piece of plastic right out of the way, because otherwise it's going to end up in the food and then in a tank. So, what do you reckon? Is it going to get munched or is it going to get ignored? I we can safely say that's getting munched. And it sinks quite quick as well, so that's a good thing. It means the Corys will get some. Yeah, that appears to be. But you're supposed to eat it, not wear it. Bert's got some stuck on his head like a hat. Alright, so that works for them. Ooh. Let's try the original Aquatic Nutrition Krill Power Flake. In a ripped up bag that does actually rip properly and seals properly. Let's have a look. Yeah, that looks like red flake to me. Bloody big flakes, so we're going to have to crumble it quite severely for the shelly dwellies, but let's see. No, combat shorts. There, the shorts, Danny boy. It's still too hot for trousers. Oh dear. Let's see if the shelly dwellies like the flake. I think we can safely say yes. Guten Abend. As soon as I get sat back down, we'll do the correct greeting. Oh, Danny boy, the fish are feeding. So let's grab the camera. Yeah, would you say they're quite happily munching away on that flake? Yeah. I reckon when you got shell dwellers taking food off the surface, it's quite popular. But yes. Put the camera back straight, it might help. Well, it's on the HUD, which means it's straight because the laptop's on the HUD. Yeah, it's one of those ones that I'm never really worried about whether my fish are going to eat the food that I've given them, because they get fed so many different things over the course of a week, from algae waivers and yeah, they get fed dry, like freeze-dried foods, pellets, granules, flakes, algae wafers, everything. So they don't fixate on one thing as this is food, anything else isn't. I have seen some where someone's been testing out food and they said the food's no good because their fish won't eat it, but they only ever feed their fish the one thing. So the fish only associate that one thing with being food, and everything else they just ignore. Or it's oh, they've not touched it and it's been 30 seconds. This food must be rubbish. Let me scoop it all out and put some of my normal food in. Yeah, we've all seen those ones. We're sitting there going, yeah, that's the only pot of food you have, isn't it? Yes. I don't think I've found anything that my fish won't eat in general, food-wise. There's stuff I'm not too fond of, personally, for various reasons. Either blooming expensive, or only, like the Hikari cichlid gold floating pellets. Nothing wrong with them at all. They're awesome. The happy Karas love them. It's just they're too big for anything else to eat, and they float. So, yeah. I mean, if they sank, then, plecos would destroy them as well, but there we go. Well, Tommy's been busy, isn't driving now. listen away, sir. You not really miss much, just feeding fish and me talking rubbish as usual. Um, and while I think about it, if you've not watched Daniel's channel, he's been a busy boy lately, but he's got the floorball canister giveaway kind of thing going on. So get yourself on Mr. DKF's channel, and I know he won't put the link up. So if someone would be kind enough to. Um, and yes, I know I've not entered. But I don't need a huge canister for anything, so that's why. Um, one of these ones where if I won it, I would like unbox it and review it. Go, wow, ooh, shiny. Ooh, look at all this space you can take all these silly rocks out of and add more sponge in. Then I'd rebox it back up and take it to the OFS and sell it, which is not really the kind of point, is it? So, yes. I mean, I say they did have a couple of canisters in the shop I went to today that was closing down, and I was like, do I want a better canister filter? Literally brand name better, which I think is rebranded All Pond Solutions, which is rebranded Sun, or the All Pond Solutions one. I think they were going 50 and 65 minus 30%. And I thought, nah, I really don't need a random canister. So, local fish keeper Lee bought several different types of crypts. Some of the super red Ludwigia, or Ludwig, yeah, Ludwigia. Yeah, it works if you say it in like a bad Italian accent, like Luigi from Mario Brothers. Don't post it. Stay here on Sharpe TV. Now you know full well, Dan. If you've got a link to post, stick it in there. I ain't gonna be upset. Or do you just want a really short list of people again? Because the bigger the list, the more a pain it is trying to pick a winner. I think we can safely say I'm never going to get sponsored. Certainly not by Fluval or any big brand name. And the smaller brand names wouldn't risk sponsoring me in case I told the truth. Because yes, that's always been one of my caveats. Yes, manufacturers. Mario voice actor has retired after his. Well, they got enough. What does he have to say other than "It's a me, a Mario" and that weird little laugh thing? Not really a lot else, and they've got that recorded, so job done. I was going to make a really bad joke about Donkey Kong, but we won't. Yeah, that would have definitely get me cancelled. Yeah, so just audition for. I'll probably get a bloody copyright strike for that one. But anyway, as I was saying, yes, manufacturers, if you feel that I would be a good fit for your brand, and you'd like to see me reviewing and making videos about your stuff. Get in contact. I'm not really what would be known as a brand ambassador, am I? It'd all go well until I watch the live stream, and then or until I watched the video I put out about the first thing they sent me, where I tell the truth. Right now, I've just been sent this new filter to try. Let's have a look and see what it's like. Rummage. What's this rubbish? We don't need that. All right, so it comes with these cartridges. We don't need them. Here's some cheap foam that you can buy and just stick some of that in it. Wookie hair products. Oh, pant stain. That's a... Why take 2 bottles into the shower when you can get in the bath instead, you gimp? But how will I wash my hair in the bath? You stick your head back, you get it wet, you sit up, you rub some shampoo in it, you stick your head back again, you rub the shampoo out. Then if you're feeling really posh, you then grab some conditioner, rub that in, take off dead skin off your feet and your knees and whatever for a couple of minutes, dip your head back in, swish out all the conditioner, job done. Yeah. Men's grooming products. Yeah, that's one that would make me laugh if someone sent me razors to test. If you'd like to get into the bath with Sharpe, and I can guarantee you it's always a bubble bath. It might not be the kind of bubbles you want, but there will be bubbles. Yeah, so that would definitely be something that would get me kicked off of YouTube, wouldn't it? Giveaway. One lucky member will get to take a bath with me. And I'll take the tap end. It's just grim. I doubt anyone would enter that. By which I mean the contest. Shotgun, not the tap end. Well, that's the way the bubbles all flow, so. That's another option, is stick the laptop on the toilet and stream from the bath. Now we really are getting into OnlyFans territory, aren't we? I need a lot of bubbles and a lot of water to make that watchable for anybody. There'd probably be more bubble bath than water in there. It's such a hard job, that guy has to retire. It's more like he's probably made enough money out of it by now, because, you know, he's the voice of Mario, for crying out loud. Yeah, he's probably made enough money he doesn't need to work anymore. So let's be honest. Quick vote here. How many of us here would carry on working if we had enough money to retire and not work ever again? Yeah, that's nobody. If I could not work, I wouldn't work, which is why it usually takes me so long between jobs. It's because I really don't want to go back to working again. Hopefully this one lasts a lot longer than the last two. It's already lasted longer than the previous job did. It's only a few months off of the one before that, so will it be September? Yeah, not much longer. But then the job before that, it'll take quite a while to catch up to how long I was there for. Another 14 years. So yeah, I'd be in my 60s by then. So whether I'd still be considered employable at that age is another matter. If I live that long. Pardon me. It's not trapped wind that's going to be the end of me, though, is it? Let's be honest. Yes, one of the weird things, the older you get, the more you think about retiring and not actually having to work anymore. And then realizing that the government has messed up the retirement and pensions to such an extent that I'm probably going to end up having to work until we drop. Because, yeah, ain't nobody going to have enough savings. Well, not anyone that's worked general bottom end jobs. High end gigolo was an optimist advert. Oh, God, I wouldn't be a high end gigolo ever. I wouldn't be a high end anything. Get me started. Yes, that's right, Debs. We're in the same boat. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's yeah. I mean, okay, it is the government's fault end of the day, but the retirement pot was a certain size, and then people started living a lot longer, which meant they were drawing their pension for a lot longer, which meant the retirement pot is a lot smaller. Yeah, Patty's such a sweetheart. Yes. There's two sides to Patty, and we want to stay on the sweet side. Definitely. It's kind of the same with most people, though. We all have a nice side, which is fine, easy to get on with, great, awesome, wonderful. You can get on with most people, it's fine. And we all have that side that, is best not to get on. Some of us are more psychotic and psychopathic than others, but, sticks and stones may break my won't. Teeth in Sharpe. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but whips and chains excite me. There's the old saying. No, hang on, that's wrong, isn't it? Is it sticks and stones may break my bones, but words and names can't hurt me, or something silly like that. We were taught as kids, say, to bullies when they started calling us nasty names. Now, to be honest, I found a punch in the nose worked a lot better. Not that I'm condoning violence in any way. This is satirical. Back in my day, if someone said something you didn't like, to the extent that you got angry about it, you punched them in the nose. Then they went crying to the school nurse or teacher or principal or head or whatever. Sharpe punched me in the nose. And then you get called to the office, and she goes, why did you punch so and so in the nose? Because he called me a beep. Oh, fair enough. Try not to do it again. Yes, miss. Yes. That seems to be missing a lot these days. There's no fear of consequences. A bigger boy made me do it. Yeah, well, for me at school, that would have been an easy one because I was one of the smaller ones in my class. Hard to believe, I know, but I was pretty much the smallest kid in the class when I started high school. I was 4'10". I had kiddies size 12 feet. Was it kiddie? I can't remember. I think it was third year where I went to an adult size shoe. I think it was a size 1 or something. Yeah, I was 4'11" and 4.5 stone when I started high school, which is someone can work that out. But then by the time I left school, I was 6 foot tall and 12.5 stone. So I had slight growth spurt between 11 and 16. Actually, no, it wasn't 11, was it? When did I start high school? I was in school for 4 years. So yeah, 12 and 16. Actually, nearer 13, truth be told. Was I actually 13 when I started high school? Yeah, I was. So yeah, between 13 and 16, I grew a foot and tripled in weight. Went from being the easy mark to the one that then beat up anyone who tried it on. Yeah. Soon learnt to stand up for myself. And even when I was the little one, when they were all much bigger than me, all you got to do is punch them in the nuts and they're suddenly the same height. Got 2 week detention for beating the crap out of a bully. Worth it. Got left alone after. Wish I'd done it years before. Exactly. You sort of put up with it and put up with it and put up with it, and then eventually you snap. So, yeah, it's one of those things that then you snap and you beat the absolute snot out of them. In my case, send them in a van that goes Nina, 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 with big flashy lights on the top, off to a special building. And then, yeah, they don't go near you for the rest of school. And neither did anyone else, to be honest. But I was quite happy with that. Yes, the nut punch is a great equalizer. Exactly. I've never understood this whole you got to fight clean. You can't fight dirty. But no, you fight to win. Tell me a fun fact. The first alarm clock could only ring at 4 a.m. Well, that's when everyone got up, so makes sense. And breakfast was apparently delicioso. Ooh. Deb's a vigilante. Oh, yeah. As I said, don't get on the wrong side of people. Super Deb. Is it a bird? Yes. Is it a plane? No. It's Super Deb. Tell me a riddle. Oh, dear. What's black and white and red all over? When is L greater than XL? When you're using Roman numerals. Alternatively, when is 111 equal to 7? When you're using binary. I'll give you a moment to work that one out. Yes, sad case, had to learn binary in college. Protected the other kids after that, and I dislike bullies to this day. Yeah, we all dislike bullies. Um, they're the ones who stand at the end of the bar with, holding their pint out with their arm out like that, waiting for someone to bump into them and spill their pint so they can have a fight. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really protect the other kids because it was three of them that were bullies, and I put all three of them in the hospital in one go. So I kind of stayed away from everyone after that. You know, just a newspaper, not a penguin with a newspaper or none in a blender. Although if you do blend a nun, you do get Guinness. The white stuff floats to the top. Um, or a penguin, same thing. Not much difference between a penguin and a nun. Oh, and that reminds me of something that Mary and I were talking about earlier this week, and only the Brits will have seen this show. Euro Trash with Sister Bendy the nun, Mr. Penguin, the guy who ate the whole raw fish, presented by Antoine de Caunes and Jean-Paul Gaultier. Anyone else remember that? It was basically an excuse to laugh at fat naked Germans every week on a Friday night. Normally, fat naked Germans playing ping pong or table tennis, something like that. They should rerun that. That would upset so many people these days. That was great. Finish your drinking, get home, turn on the TV on a Friday night, and you got hilarity and nudity. What's the complaint about? It's not normally either that or The Word, which is like the music magazine type show. That was the one where Danita Sparks of L7 dropped her pants and wasn't wearing any knickers. Oh no, there's not a Euro Trash YouTube channel. Oh my. That is going to be so highly edited, it's unreal. There was one segment of it which was a game called Sit on Me, and it wasn't exactly much of a game. It was just an excuse for Antoine de Caunes to get a Playboy model to sit in his lap. Oh, get stuffed. Yes, that was good as well. Or Banzai, the, the betting show. There was just weird stuff going on. You like bet at home as to what was going to happen. It was very silly. It was kind of based on a Japanese game show, I think. So that should tell you how weird that one was. And I actually, back in the RC racing days, I knew a guy who looked a spitting image of the ninja guy out of that. That was hilarious. Dragon's Den is better than Shark Tank. Fish Tank is better than Shark Tank or Dragon's Den. And I have seen a few videos where people do have tanks with sharks in. And I say, don't. No, not oceanic sharks. No. I mean, iridescent shark is probably bad enough, but just got a new Mako, and you're thinking, oh, God. That thing needs an ocean to swim in, not your however many 100-gallon tank in your living room or basement usually. No reason why you need to own a shark unless you're a drug dealer. Exactly. Unless it's one of those, oh, was it an air filter? I think Danny boy, you know, was it the shark? Was it an air filter? And there's also a filter as well with the same name. I'm sure it was an air filter that had, or an air pump that had like a little shark's fin on the top of it. Yeah, that was the one. Then there's the Sicky shark, the filter. And no, I'm not going to call it Siche, because it's not, it's Sicky. Just because it's got an E on the end, you don't pronounce it as an A, not if you're English. It's Nike, not Nike or Nike, it's Nike. If it was Nike, it'd have either a Y or another E at the end. End of. Rhymes with don't tell them your name. Pike. As he realises that most Americans won't get a Dad's Army reference. Well, mind you, most Brits these days won't get a Dad's Army reference. They might know don't tell them your name, Pike, but they won't necessarily know the context or the show. Interestingly, mostly filmed around here. And I think actually Bike Ride I went on the other week. I actually went through an area where it was actually filmed. A place that doubled as Warmington-on-Sea was actually in the middle of Norfolk. As far from the sea as you can get in the UK. Well, you know, not, but good couple of hours anyway. But then anyone who's ever been to the North Sea will know you don't necessarily want to go to the North Sea if you can help it. Because again, most people think of seas as these wonderful, gently rolling waves of clear blue water with beautiful fish. And yeah, the North Sea again is brown. Subject to some of the worst weather in the world, actually, as far as seas and oceans go. Mostly because it's a very shallow sea and it's attached to the North Atlantic. So you get the North Atlantic storms, they come whipping down through the North Sea, and yeah. It's why Sharpe Flow was such a well-used naval base, because it's completely surrounded by islands. Then you can moor up ships there and they don't blow away. Prepare your face. I'm going to do some squats. There we go. That is as perverse as we need to get. Yeah, so Dad's Army, North Sea. There are some interesting and actually some very pretty fish in the North Sea, it does have to be said. If you find somewhere with rock pools and stuff, then you'll find the blennies and gobies and the wrasses. But as soon as you get out into the deeper water, it's just things like cod and haddock and cod and haddock, that kind of stuff. The kind of ugly, grey-looking whitefish, as we call them. Things we tend to eat, but you never see the whole fish in a shop because they're so fugly, it's unreal. Oh, random fishy factoid. And we shall see if this turns up in one of Andrew's quizzes. Haddock have two sets of pectoral fins. One for swimming with and one for walking with. There we go. Kind of sensible. They spend most of their time on the bottom of the sea, so you know, why swim when you can walk? It's like why stand when you can sit? why run when you can walk? You know, just leave 5 minutes earlier and get to the bus stop in time rather than leaving 5 minutes late and having to run. It's, yeah. What can I say? I'm lazy. Energy efficient. So look, for my long ride week after next, I will have everything ready the day before. So all I've literally got to do is get the food out of the fridge, stick it in my ruck bag and go. Or rack bag, not ruck bag. Which will be a couple of meal deals, which, if you're familiar with meal deals, good things to have for food to go. It's usually a pack of sandwiches, a snack, which is usually pork pies or Cornish pasty or bag of crisps or chocolate bar, and then a drink, which in my case is normally a big can of Red Bull because it's the most expensive. Yes, when you can buy a meal deal and you're saving over what the cost of the meal deal is. Sitting down for the first time in 7 hours today. Whew. I know that feeling. I know that feeling very well. The old tootsies get a bit sore. Oh, raining again. Yeah. Proper plootin down, but we even had a thunderstorm roll through earlier. That's quite nice. Meant my ankles stopped aching anyway. But yeah, standing up for long periods of time is not good. Now that I sat down, finally exhale a relaxing breath. Something will need my utmost attention within 5 minutes. Of course. There will either be something a child needs help with, something a wife needs help with, a problem in the fish tank, or dinner to cook. One of them. Or a chicken will escape, something like that. You know it's going to happen. It always does. Basically, I had it yesterday. I got home from work, sat down. It's like, right, I'm not leaving this armchair for the rest of the night. I'm just going to sit here, eat the snacks I have around me, and chill. What the hell's that noise? There's a snail got inside one of the filters again. Kids is the bet. Dinner I start in about 2 hours. Street tacos, slow cooked carne picada yesterday. Or the carne picada. That would be even funnier. It must be that time of year. All the spiders are coming in. At least I haven't had any frogs come in yet, although that would be good for a live stream, wouldn't it? You just sit here and look around and, oh, we have a frog. Just means spicy beef, but carne picada, yes. My Spanish isn't that bad. I'm not quite full Norfolk yet. Because I have heard people calling them tortillas and what other ones? Quesadillas. But then there are people around here who can't even pronounce Dolmero. Yeah, tortillas, yes. I know. But there are people around here who aren't necessarily fully literate. So tortillas, quesadillas, what are the Doritos, tacos, yeah, dolmero. There's even some who have struggled with things like parmesan when it's not typed in the English. What on earth is Parmigiano? Is that ham? Oh, God. No, it's cheese from Parma. Parma being the city and region of Italy. There, yes, it's not exactly what you'd call a highly cultured area of the world, Norfolk. And rural Norfolk is even less multicultural than you might imagine. And don't get me started on what's on sale in the Polish shops. Toad mating call. Yeah, thanks. So this week I've been told I've been doing a toad mating call and sound like a blocked drain as well was another one. Oh, and I farted the other day at work and it sounded like a duck. I'm a fart most days at work, but that day for some reason they sounded like ducks. And I'm having bad hair day again. It really would be easy to just put an elastic band in it and tie it back, wouldn't it? But no, Sharpe can't be bothered on a Sunday. I do it the days I'm working, but if I'm not working, it's just fur everywhere. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think what. Yeah, so yeah, the various Polish foods they get absolutely murdered. I'm not saying I can speak Polish, but at least got a rough idea of kind of how things should sound. Yeah, so because we do have a fairly sizable Eastern European community in this part of the world, because farming area. So actually, lots of jobs is just not jobs that English people want to do. So I don't qualify it as coming over here and stealing our jobs. I qualify it as coming over here and doing the crap we don't want to do. Ooh, ooh, that was hot. Ooh, bit of ring sting there. Ooh, shame it's not winter. That'd have warmed the house up nicely. Um, oh dear. Just remembering another crude joke I made at work the other day when I came out of the loo and was sort of walking a bit funny and I was like, "Are you okay?" Got a whole like a yawning hippo. Apparently they'd not heard that one before. Yeah. How can Sharpie upset more people in one live stream than anyone else has managed in an entire career? Yeah. I've got to get it out somehow. I tried to make a crude joke the other day, but it came out slick. Oh, oh dear. Yeah. Have you noticed, Dan, you're at that age now where you make a joke based on something that we grew up with, let's say Red Dwarf or Blackadder. You'll drop a Blackadder quote into a conversation with a younger person, and they just look at you like completely blank, and they're like, "What are you on about?" And you're like, "How do you not know about Baldric's cunning plans?" And yeah, when we were probably the same. Well, you're probably better because you got human fry, so you're probably a bit cooler and more up to date than I am. But nope. And Andrew's uploading videos. Nothing wrong with dad jokes. Dad jokes are funny. And pull my finger will never get old. There's always someone who's going to fall for that one. Pull my finger, will you? Thank you. As soon as you have human fry, you'll never be cool again. Sad but true. Dum 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 ba da 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 dum 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 da da da. Sorry, slipped into Metallica for a moment there. Scotty, how are you, Mister Awa, the alien himself? I heard he visited New. I heard Scott visited New York and Sting wrote a song about him. Yeah, all good here. Well, good as it ever gets. Let's be honest. Um, Still more plecos than I'd need or want, but and one avenue of deplecking is closing down, so that's a bit of a bummer. But yeah. So those foods I was testing earlier, yeah, I think we can safely say they're all gone. Also, give Paige a hug for me. And when are you going to start streaming again, Scott? That's what we need. There must be a berth you can fit into somewhere around the calendar. Doesn't need to be fishy stuff. It can be alien-y stuff, paranormally stuff, weird stuff, airsofty stuff. You could even get Paige involved. I'm sure no one would complain about having Giggler back on the screen again. But yes. Where were we? Being uncool. Yeah, I've never been cool, so didn't really, never really came as a bother. Um, and when it came to it, and Mary and I got together, obviously with Mary's kids. Well, I was way cooler than their dad, so that was awesome. Doing silly things, being being silly. It's something their dad would never do. So the fact that I can have a laugh and a joke, and they don't have to be all serious with me. They can call me names, and I'm not going to get upset with them. I'll just call them something else back. 245 tea bags. I thought my drink was starting to taste salty. That reminds me, I've got a bag of peanuts somewhere. Do you reckon dry roasted peanuts, tuna, and rice will be a good combination? Yeah, it probably wouldn't be. That's probably a bad idea. That's probably going to cause ricochets and squirts. So I'll best avoid that. Best avoid that combination. The last thing you want is a peanut bouncing back up out of the pan. Actually, peanuts. Is anyone else like me? Right. You start the bag of peanuts, you pour some in your hand, and you nom 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 nom. And after a couple of handfuls like that, you pour them in your hand and you pour them straight in your mouth. A whole lot. Or is that just me? Then the bag of peanuts is empty and you feel a little bit sad because there's no more peanuts. Not sad because you. Debs does the same. Yes. You do, don't you? You start out and you're like 2 or 3 at a time. And the second handful, 2 or 3 at a time. Then you think, oh, screw this. And especially dry roast peanuts, you get to the bottom of the bag and you got to remember to shut your eyes as well, because the last thing you want is dry roast seasoning going in your eyes. Yeah, just to get all the dry roasty salty goodness out of them that you can. Given the price of them, you're not going to waste any these days. And same with the price of any food. When you think, I fancy some spam sandwiches. And then you go and look and you go, I don't fancy spam sandwiches anymore. I just think the cost of a price of a tin of spam. You go, nope. Howdy, Mark. Back in a bit late today. Don't worry about it. I don't hold anyone on parade. There's no, you have to be here for the start of the stream. It's just, if you can make it, it's appreciated. And thank you for being here. If you can't, well, we all have lives and other things to do. So I never hold it against people if they do or don't. And heck, half the time people probably don't even get a notification at this point, because we all know how broken YouTube notifications are. Same with subscriptions and things like that. They just randomly unsubscribe you from people. Howdy, Stillwater. Well, you say never trust a fart. I trust most of them. But I've got enough experiences of how my bowels feel most of the time as to whether I can trust a fart. And sometimes you go, oh, no, we're going to have to filter this one around the solids. We can't just let this one go, or there's going to be a lump comes with it. We just have to let it out a bit more gently, sort of semi-clench, semi-let it open. Oh, there we go. And they're probably the really stinky ones. The ones where you have to filter the gas through the solids and the liquids. Oh, why do we always end up on such gross subject matters? But hey, it's a subject. That's the most important thing. If someone would like to talk about something nicer than farts and bodily functions, feel free to put it in the chat. So I was watching the Shelleys. They're making sure every little bit of flake is gone. They've gone from feeding off the top, feeding in open water, to pecking it off of the sand and bits of rock. So, yay. I think we safely say the new foods were a success. I mean, Now, if I put a food in a tank and none of my fish went for it, you'd know that was a bad food. Um, so I've not had anything that nothing would eat. And there are some things that disappear quicker than others, and it all depends on the fish and how much I throw in there and what the food is. So I'm like, algae wafers in pleclet tanks do last a little bit, but then I was Monday. Yes, of course it's cool if you drop Fishy Biz's link again. That is never a problem if someone has, let's say, a good cause or a needy cause. If you got a link for it, drop it. Don't worry about it. Um, if it's someone who needs help, or like Drew is with his fishy kitty thing, anything like that is always welcome. Or if someone's got a cool video that needs to be seen, or anything like that, don't worry about it. Just, yeah, no links to adult websites, please, because otherwise I'll have to go back through the chat and find them. Thinking of grinding up a salmon now. I read that wrong the first time. Grinding on a salmon. Add some things to make my own fishy foods for the winter. Anyone make their own food? Not really, not to that extent anyway. I mean, I grow mosquito larvae and courgettes. Well, not this year, they didn't work for some reason. Well, I know the reason, the pigeons ate them. But no, I've not really made my own foods, as it were. Oh, oh, who's that moving around down there? Is that you, Zach, or was that Shadow? Is that you, Zachy boy? Hey? That was probably Shadow then. But no, I've not really made any food myself. Personally, if it was salmon, yeah, I'm eating that. The fish ain't getting it. Ooh, yep, and the Fish Mafia with Larry D and Chili Head. And Pammy Pants, Sunday Fundy art with the Fishman friends. Yay! Pamela, or Pamela, the lovely sweet old lady. And I know she hates being called that, so that's why I do it. And yeah, at some point I've still got to get on Pam's stream one day, and we can natter about ghosty type stuffs. Oh, she knows I always call her sweet. Yeah, old is fine, but not sweet. Yeah. I mean, ladies probably pushing it. Love you, Pam. Yes. She knows I'm just joshing and pulling her leg. Yeah, I have a way with calling people things that most people aren't allowed to call them. Let's put it that way, and getting away with it. Heck, I call my manager a bell end fairly regularly, so She doesn't get upset. Usually if she does something a bit silly or messes up, you bellend. Yes. You know you've got your job sorted when your manager asks you how to do things. Uh, Tennessee fish market in about 5 hours, and Pam is in about 8 hours. There we go. So about 5 hours from now will be 1 a.m. here. So sorry, Bob, I will be asleep, and Larry D. And 3 hours after that, 4 a.m., I will definitely be asleep. So sorry, Pam. Howdy, M&C. How you diddling? Hope all is well. Do I finish rolling the ciggy or do I burp first? Excuse I. A lot of excuses. Oh, well, I'm lazy. I mean, if I'm awake at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, then I may well tune in, as it were, and wind up Pam a little bit. Chances are I will be snoring like the well, I would say like the dead, but generally if I stop snoring, that's when people start worrying. Because I know my neighbours have heard me snoring before now. I also know they've heard me burping in the middle of the night. Yeah, as long as there's noise coming out of one end, I'm okay. When the noise stops, you got to worry. Like I said to my colleagues, if I'm being quiet and not talking and not joining in with jokes, and I'm doing work, which doesn't necessarily need to be done, but I'm just keeping myself occupied, just leave me be. Because generally, when I'm quiet and I'm doing that, I'm in a bad mood, and then it just stay away. It's easier. Whatever you do, don't keep bugging me about what's wrong. Oh, smile, it can't be that bad. Howdy, Zoltan. How you doing? Yes. When someone's having a bad day, the worst thing you can say to them is, "Oh, smile, it could be worse." Yeah, it could, in which case I'd probably rip your head off. Um, yeah, we all have bad days. I don't know why people can't accept it. All right, working on tanks. It's always good when you're working on tanks. It's always therapeutic and cathartic. Unless some little sod decides to bite you while you're doing it. That doesn't happen very often. And I've got to say, there's one thing I've noticed with the Limia. So every other live bear I've had, guppies, mollies, platies, swordtails, I think that covers it, endlers. If you stick your hand in the tank, all of those will come and start nipping and trying to pull your arm hairs and hand hairs off, or dead skin. Limia don't go anywhere near. They're far more likely to try and swim up the siphon hose than they are to actually try and nom on you. Which leads me to believe that Limia don't eat algae. But we have no algae, so someone's eating it. My suspect would probably be. It's going to be the bristle noses, isn't it? If anyone in there's eating algae, it's the bristle noses and their rights. I did actually see Big Bob Nerite the other day. Sharpe shows his. Oh, God. No one wants to see that other than you. Nobody wants my hooves in their memory. And you're missing the one where I accidentally flashed my butt crack as well. Tiger Lemur will pick at algae, not near as much as the mollies. So mine are the Lemur perugiae. So yeah, they don't seem to go near algae, but I don't tend to have algae in my tanks. The only one that does get algae is the shell dweller tank, and that's because there's no snails or bristlenoses in it. I mean, if there was a bristlenose in there, that glass would be clear. There, thank God there's no smell-o-vision or smell-o-stream. Now, on a Sunday, my feet are normally pretty good because I will have had a bath Sunday morning because I like to be at my best for Mary. So yeah, my feet will have been de-stenched and my butt, and my pits and everything else. Yeah, after a day at work, you wouldn't want to go near my feet. Wandering around for 6 hours in steel toe cap, well, trainers, but work boots basically. This time of year, definitely not a good thing. I was considering drilling a couple of holes in the sole for drainage. I did have a pair of trainers like that once, where I had like the vents down the side, to keep your feet cool when you're doing athletic-y type things. Yeah, all that happened with them is when my feet got really hot and sweaty in the middle of summer, I'd walk along and sweat would squirt out of the vents at the side. Rather grim. Yeah, I don't do well in the heat. I do get rather sweaty. Well, the weird thing is, when I'm riding my bike, I don't necessarily sweat while I'm riding. I guess I do, because my body equalizes or something. Is when I get off the bike, get home, sit down, and then it just starts running off me. You're like, oh, okay. Now you're deciding to cool yourself off. Thanks. You couldn't have done that when I was out in the great outdoors and the wind take the whiff away. No, you wait till I'm sat in my armchair. Oh, oh, definitely got ring sting from that one earlier. But it is only a matter of time before smell-o-vision does become a thing. Let's be honest. In which case, certain movies and TV shows are really going to get bad viewing figures. Thankfully, most of my burps probably don't smell too bad. At least not when it's just relentless. I've been drinking. There's always that one person at work that likes to burp and fart and then gets upset when you burp or fart back at them, and it smells worse. Especially when you can't smell theirs to start with. Bite your tongue and pinch your nose. Yeah. And today we are looking at the digestive system of cows. Change channel quick! Yeah, might make like some of the dirty jobs would have been interesting with smell-o-vision. Every time Micro ended up in a sewer or Barsky fell into a cesspit or something. Yeah, that wouldn't have been good. That was an awesome TV show, by the way. Thank you, America, for that one. Quite why that had lower viewing figures than the Kardashians, I have no idea. One that is interesting and educational and funny, and the other one which is a bunch of entitled nerps going, woo drama. I've never seen an episode. I just imagine that's what the Kardashians is like the Osbournes, but duller. Yeah. Anyway, somehow I've managed to waffle rubbish for nearly 2 hours constantly. So how I do it every week, I have no idea. And how some people do it every day, I really have no idea. But anyway, thank you to everyone for showing up. Always awesome when people do. Every streamer's worst nightmare is you start a stream and either no one turns up or one person does. So thank you all from the bottom of my cold, dead heart. Peace out. Rock on. Bye bye. Monday sucks. Do 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 do. Monday sucks. Do 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 do. Monday sucks. Do 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 do. Ah. Fun day thought. Do 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 do. Fun day thought. Do 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 do.